Failure is good. You can't have success in sales, or for that matter, anything without failure. Failure is important to success as long as you understand why and how to use that failure to your advantage. First thing is you have to accept that it's part of the game. Without evil, there'd be no good, and without failure, there would be no success. Also keep in mind that everyone who's first started out last. So anyone who wants success has to go through failure first. And by going through this, it makes you better. First, it improves your character, which is a key part of success. What turns coal into diamonds is pressure, the same way that heat and fire creates steel. Your character is a key component of your success, and failure helps you build and strengthen that. It's just like the saying, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Thomas Watson, the founder of IBM, said if you want to increase your success, double your failure rate. One example of how I look at failure is this diagram where you see these circles, and what these circles represent are adversity or failure. What I found is that the way life works is you have to go through each circle and multiple circles before you finally get to the good stuff, which is the success in the middle. So the more circles you go through, the closer you are to the good stuff. The trick though is that you don't know how many circles are left until you get to the middle, so you just have to keep going until you get there. The sad part is some people quit when you may only be one circle away. Or another analogy that Ziglar uses is that it's like the old-fashioned water pump, where there's water in the ground that you're trying to pump up. When you start pumping, it's really hard, but slowly and surely it starts to come up. And when you finally pump the water to the top, and once it comes out easily and in quantity. But the problem is a lot of people quit because they pump for a while and nothing comes out. The sad part is that water may only be an inch before the ground surface when you quit, and if you'd only kept pumping a minute more, you would have gotten the water. You quit, but you don't realize how close the water actually was, so it's important that you just keep pumping until the water comes out. In life, you need to keep going until you win. My personal mantra is that it's not over until I win. You don't want to play Monopoly with me. Another thing that will help you in dealing with failure is how you look at it. Failure is just feedback telling you that you're doing it the wrong way, and it's a necessary part of how you learn things. Failure is not personal. It doesn't reflect on you as a person. It reflects on the actions you're doing. Also, like the analogies we've been discussing, every time you fail, you're getting closer and closer to success. Thomas Edison, the founder of the light bulb, who failed 10,000 times before he succeeded, was asked, "How can you keep going when you failed over and over and over?" And his response was, "I've not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that it won't work." Failure is feedback, and in sales, rejection is part of the game. Again, they aren't rejecting you. They're just rejecting your business offer. In sales, another way I looked at the rejection side of failure was that it was like mining for gold, where if I went to a mine, I knew that for every 10 rocks I turned over, 4 of them were going to be gold and 6 of them were going to be dirt. So every time I turned over a rock that wasn't gold, I was happy because I knew I got 1 out of the 6 out of the way that I had to go through to get to the 4 that were the gold. So it's important that you learn persistence when learning from failure. You need to have the persistence and drive to get through the stress that failure gives you, because nobody likes to lose. It's important that you don't let failure discourage you, but encourage you because you're getting closer. So learn to embrace adversity and failure. You get to a point where you're relentless, and it's almost like a bring it on attitude because you know you're not going to stop. There comes a certain point when you develop the trait or skill that nothing can stop you, that you almost in a way look forward to or embrace the adversity. When you're at that point and keep going and learning from the failures, nothing can stop you from being successful. I don't want to get too metaphysical here, but when things go bad, it seems to get worse before it gets good. You know what I mean. It's almost like life or whatever you believe in looks at you and kicks you when you're down, and it gets even harder. You know what it's like when you're down and it gets harder, and when the going gets tough, it tends to get tougher before it gets good. And I think whoever's in control looks at you, and when you're down, they say, let's kick him again. Let's see how bad he really wants it. But there'll be a certain point when they say, you know what? Let's go on to someone easier. He's not going to give in. That's where you want to be. Learn to embrace the adversity. You just have to make up your mind that you'll never quit and deal with the necessary failure to be successful. The big key is that you change or adjust what you're doing based on the failure feedback. If you don't change or adjust, then the failure would have been a waste, and it's like the quote, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You have to learn how to use the failure, since failure is just giving you feedback telling you you're doing it the wrong way. It's important that you learn from your failures. So in our business, when I didn't make a sale, my number one goal was to figure out what I could have done differently if I had the same situation again so I could make the sale. Lots of times you can figure it out yourself, such as if they thought my prices were too high where I know I needed to work on price conditioning better. Or if they fought me the whole time, then I know that I need to work on the rapport and connection. If you can't figure it out, then you need to talk to someone who's more experienced or better than you, so you're learning from the failure. One phrase that I like is that every time you make a sales call, you should either be paying tuition or making commission. If you don't learn from the failure, then you've wasted that experience. Don't waste the no sale by justifying it. With statements that you see weaker salespeople make like, well, it's just a numbers game, or nobody could have sold that. For you to learn, you have to take responsibility for everything that happens in your life and our job for the specific sale or the no sale. It's your fault that they didn't buy, but the good part is because it's your responsibility, it's controllable, and you can change it. You'll never become a world-class salesperson until you learn to use failure. Then take 100% responsibility for it, understand that it's part of the job, and look forward to it.